Welcome, everybody.
Hey, hey. Good boy, Tucker.
Work smarter where you want.
This is learning at its most fun.
Good afternoon to some and good morning to others. This is the simple path to engaging leads and building loyalty with technology with both Redtail and Advisor websites. We're so excited to show you the process of building a great website and having that website translate into leads, which then you can then put into your CRM system and translate to more business. And so today I am joined by Nitesh and Alex, and we are here to share our knowledge with you on how to make a cycle for doing this. So like I said, my name is Austin Johnson. I'm a subject matter expert and trainer here at Redtail Technology. Been training for about going on 2.5 years now. And I'm real excited again to show you the latter part of the presentation today, specifically developing out your sales cycle inside Redtail CRM.
Nice. Thanks for having us, Austin. And I got to ask, that's a pretty cool virtual background you got there. I assume you're a fan of tacos?
Alex, you'd be surprised to know this actually isn't virtual. As you can see here, nothing virtual here.
Oh, it's painted. It's a mural.
That's right. That's right. I had virtual backgrounds before they were virtual, so I feel pretty cool here. This is Redtail HQ here in Sacramento, California, and we have lots of really fun murals painted like this around the office. And this one's my favorite, so I always like to present in front of it.
Yeah, I know it's authentic to the brand because the first time I met you was about a year ago. And do you remember what we had for dinner at that conference?
I believe it was tacos.
It was tacos.
Yeah, in Orlando, Florida. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That was
night.
Yeah, a couple weeks before the COVID shutdown happened. The last conference I went to actually was with you. So it's good to see you again. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm Alex. I'm the president at Advisor Websites. I'm excited to engage with our current partners and work with all the advisors here to show how to make the most out of our two pieces of technology here.
Awesome. And hey, Austin, before I introduce myself, true or false, the Sacramento office has a slide?
Oh, very true. It's the highlight of the office. Every time we have partners come, we make sure that we give them a trip down the slide, and people don't know this, but we actually record it as well. So we have recordings. lots of fun people not realizing how fast of a slide that really is.
It's a cool thing. I've been down it a few times. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm Nitesh. I'm the director of growth at Advisor Websites. So I've been here for over 6 years, worked with hundreds of advisors, head offices, broker dealers, other tech partners like Redtail. Super excited to be invited today to speak a little bit about lead generation and, as Alex said, getting our two systems to talk to each other and getting the most value out of it today.
What's also exciting, one last fun fact before we dive into it, Nitesh's virtual background is actually this very real wall that's right here. I'm in the office right now and it's rather empty. But yeah, his virtual background is this very real wall that's behind me.
And if you tilted it more, I'm above him in that second floor. So that's awesome.
All right, guys. Well, here's our agenda for today. First, we're going to start on the Advisor website side. We're going to teach you how to drive more traffic using inbound marketing strategy, which is going to lead us to showing you some digital lead generation tactics. Then we're going to talk a little about the integration, and then we're going to pass it over to the Redtail CRM side, where basically you'll see that your lead is going to start from your website through the integration, make its way into Redtail, and then from there, I'm going to show you how to enhance your sales cycle and to create a consistent onboarding client experience. So, Alex, go ahead, or excuse me, Nitesh, go ahead and take it away with driving more traffic using inbound marketing strategies.
Thanks so much, Austin. So when it comes to driving traffic and generating those leads to your website and online presence, there's really 4 components or 4 stages to it all. So the first one is attract. And what that really means is generating traffic, generating visitors to your website, your social channels, things like that, and getting them there. So there's a few different ways this can be done. And I almost like to think of it as, hey, if you build a beautiful brand new home, the nicest house on the street or on the block or in the city, but you don't tell anyone your address, you're not on Google Maps, no one knows how to get to your place, there's no roads to it, you're never going to be found. What's really the point unless you're super self-centered and just want to have it for yourself? But if you want to host people, meet people, have visitors and all that good stuff, you really want to have some of these tools like blogs and content and SEO and keywords optimized on your online presence to bring people to your site. Now, once they're there, once you have your friends come over, then that's really keeping them there and converting them, right? So that can be done through, and we're going to go through some examples and details through things like forums, landing pages, having call to actions, buttons on your website like learn more, get in touch, read more, and other things like that. And then once you have them in there, once they're in your ecosystem and they're loving what you're seeing, you want to now work on closing them into a client. And this can be done through digital communication like email, something Austin will talk about later on in today's session, utilizing workflows in Redtail CRM and automating some of that. And then ultimately, once they're there, once they love you, once they're working with you, you want to make them promote your business. We all know the number one way advisors are growing their practice and their book of business is by referrals. So that's a critical part of making your clients into happy customers. Or I think the famous line Redtail uses is raving fans, and converting them into promoters and referrals for your business to keep growing year over year. So let's talk a little bit more about that first main piece. It's sort of the baseline, the fundamental thing you need to have to attract people, and that's content. So content can come in many different forms, from blog articles to videos to emails, and something I'm seeing more and more of in the industry is podcasts. I'm seeing advisors that are actually clients of ours even want to ask if they can host their podcast on their website and generate views and listens to that as well. We all know there's some compliance hurdles to get through, but once you get through hurdles, podcasts are becoming a lot more popular these days. With all this being said, though, I can't tell you how many times in my almost 7 years in the industry, I speak to advisors and they're like, "Hey, Nitesh, I don't have enough time. I'm too busy working with clients, client meetings, that sort of day-to-day grind, and servicing them to spend time on marketing my business, growing my business, or hey, I don't have the budget for it, or don't have other resources. I'm a one-person shop," that type of deal. Well, guess what? We're in 2021 and we have great tools and automations that are super powerful that make this stuff happen for you.
Amazing. Nitesh, if I were to ask you how often we should be publishing content to the website, what would your advice be?
Great question, Alex. I think at the bare minimum, once a week is what you want to strive for. That is the bare minimum. Now, I think a sweet spot is around 2 times a week, one sort of Monday, Tuesday, and one sort of towards the end of the week. And something I've actually noticed, and our marketing team has noticed, is in the past, I'd say 6 to 9 months, we have been sending content to our database on weekends, and we do see some good view rates and open rates on that. So there is an option, there is an opportunity there. I think part of it, my hypothesis is due to COVID, people are home more on the weekends now, they're doing less. So, hey, they're looking at those sorts of emails. They're wasting time or spending time in that and those types of things.
Wasting or spending, wasting or investing, depends how you look at it, I guess. Right.
Exactly. Yep. Awesome. Great. And yeah, with all the content side of things, whether it's a blog, whether it's a video, whether it's an ebook, this is really a super great way to charge your SEO, which is your search engine optimization, to get yourself found online. Because at the end of the day, content is a key part of that.
For SEO, Nitesh, it's a pretty broad term and it can be daunting if you've never tried doing any technical SEO, or if you just know SEO is something that you have to do. Where do you recommend advisors start when they make the journey towards, like creating content with SEO in mind?
Yeah, so with SEO, it's a beast, right? It can be something you can spend a ton of time, a ton of money on, but there's definitely some fundamental SEO best practices that you want to do to give yourself that head start. And really, it's as simple as submitting your website to Google Search Console, setting up your Google Analytics so you can sync the data from your website and our platform works with Google Analytics, so you're able to see the metrics. It's things like using meta tags and meta descriptions so the Google bots and the algorithms can scan your website more efficiently and rank you higher. And another one, and this is something speaking to advisors, clients of ours, past and present, where, hey, they have an article from 7 years ago and they want to move that to their new site. There's actually not a lot of value from an SEO perspective on that. You want to be actually updating content, refreshing it, and things like that to get that SEO impact.
That makes sense.
Awesome. So a few months ago, our marketing team at Advisor Websites put together a really great ebook on a digital marketing playbook for 2021. And within that and through the research, we actually came up and found some really powerful stats to show you how effective content is and why it really works. From a high level perspective, content marketing, it actually generates more leads than traditional marketing. So traditional marketing could be things like a wine and cheese event that you're hosting with either clients or potential clients, taking them out for a round of golf, a dinner, a seminar, some of that stuff. And we know as advisors, or you guys know as advisors, that that can be very pricey and not have maybe the ROI you desire. However, taking things digital and more virtual have a lot more ROI. One of the things that I found really interesting and an overall trend in consumer shopping in the past 2, 3, 4 years is video. So the second most popular search engine, obviously Google being the first, is actually YouTube and video searching. So a lot of people now, when they're making decisions, when they're researching topics and making any sort of progress, they actually look on video or look for videos to help educate themselves. And finally, some of us, I'm sure I'm guilty of it once in a while, creeping on social media. We love social media when they're downtime. We probably all waste a little bit too much time on those things. And social media, and a personal story for myself is if I'm actually looking at a brand, looking at a product, a service, a tool, I will actually search social media for what other people who are users of that item are saying. So they might not directly tweet themselves or post themselves, but a lot of people use that as a way to research and get a feel of that brand or that company. So if you're producing high quality content regularly, things that your audience and your target market connect with, and it's going out on social media, that helps them feel more comfortable and make you seem a lot more credible as well.
Yeah, and social media can be a good place too to share some of the stuff that's not quite as serious. Like I don't know if you want to be, you could post photos of, this is what our annuity plans look like on social media. Like you can do that, but the website might be a more appropriate place to explain the benefits of specific offerings. On social, you can take more of the personal approach. So like Nitesh said, many people will visit social media profiles to do some of their research just to get a feel for what a company is like. And this is a really powerful way to leverage social media for your firm to show who you are behind all the work that you do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, a few seconds ago, I was mentioning automation and the different platforms you can get your content out. So there's the website, which is usually the blog. There's social, like LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And then there's also the email component. Those are usually the three main pillars when it comes to digital marketing. Now, using automation, and what you see actually is an example of something in our platform, you're able to automatically pull content from a content library, have it post onto your website and your social media platforms, and that's fully automated. Now, the really powerful thing with this as well, if you see the screenshot on the far right, it's actually a social post. And instead of providing the entire article, it's just providing a couple sentences of teaser text, a little feature image, and a link to your individual website to drive them back. Now that creates, and it helps your SEO score as well. So you're moving up the ranking for maybe some of those keywords you desire, but that also creates and drives traffic back to your website, which is ultimately great, creates engagement, and it's something that the Google algorithm looks for as well. So
I was going to say, using a tool like this too, it also helps streamline your business because then you don't need to be posting separately in all your different communication channels. If it's posting to your website, you can share snippets of that automatically through to your other channels as well. So it saves you time. It saves all advisors time, which is the whole benefit of this.
Absolutely. Now, we've sort of talked about content now. We understand, okay, we need content and there's different forms of it, written, video, multimedia, things like that. You got some SEO happening through the content, through some optimization. It's like, okay, now I've got them. I've done the attract stage. Now I want to convert them and get them into my system, into my database, essentially capture them and make them a lead. And that can be done through a various different mechanisms or vessels. Landing pages or gating content, using calendar booking tools, which have become obviously a lot more popular during the pandemic, and utilizing social media and events to get that engagement as well. So we're going to walk you through a few different examples of how to convert or capture these visitors on your website once they hit your digital presence. The first one is a form. Very simple, something that's been around for this beginning of websites, but it can be a great basic fundamental tool to capture data and capture that leads. Something Austin will talk about is kind of what to do once they're in your system. But the great thing between our two platforms is once someone fills out a form or enters the system, it automatically goes into Redtail as well.
I know in the last slide, you had landing pages as one of the elements, and now you have forms. How do you distinguish between what a landing page is and what a form is? Are they the same thing or are they used differently?
It's one of my favorite questions, and it's something I love to share about. So a landing page, by definition, it actually has no navigation bar.
Hmm.
Right. So at the top of a traditional website, you'll have, no matter what page you're on, you'll see your navigation bar at the top, the home, the about, the contact us, resources, those types of items. A traditional landing page, or by definition, does not actually have that because you're driving people to that website for a specific campaign or offering. Now, people get that mixed up or consider a landing page somewhere where it's still within the website and there's a form, and that's sort of fine. But technically, a landing page is a dedicated URL specifically for one offer, and you want to measure and track and convert that traffic there.
That makes a lot of sense. So forms could be used for stuff, maybe like book a meeting or I want some more info when it's embedded within the website already.
100%, absolutely. And if you have a really high quality content piece, maybe you've created a custom created in-house, a really good ebook on retirement planning or 8 year-end tax planning reminders, things like this, where it's a really attention-grabbing title, but it's actually tremendous value to your audience or your visitors. You want to consider gating that content piece, and that can be done through a landing page with a form. So what that really means is, I, as a visitor, I find this page, whether it's through an email push, I found your social media, maybe it's advertised on your homepage on your website. But when I land on this page, I don't actually get immediate access to this content piece. I have to provide my information, aka you now get a lead, and then by doing so, I actually receive that content piece. This can be done in ebooks, as mentioned. Some I've seen even do it behind a video. So they have a 2-3 minute video clip, but to actually go view the video, again, it's gated, and now you capture that lead. And friendly reminder, visitor enters lead information goes into Redtail, and it really starts to tie those systems together. Fantastic. Now, the other really popular tool these days, and I apologize for some of the BD affiliate advisors who this can be tough to get off the ground, but our calendar booking tools. At advisor websites, we recently launched our own calendar booking tool called Meeting Maker, and there's the other popular ones out in the market like Calendly and what have you as well. Now, when it comes to a calendar booking tool, something I've heard from advisors is, hey, I don't want to just make my entire calendar available. Like, I don't want to look like I'm not busy or I have as much availability as I want, things like that. The really powerful thing with calendar booking tools like Meeting Maker and others is you're able to actually only allow certain time slots in a given day of the week or time of the day available to the public. So you could have a more open calendar for your clients that's only sent out via like email correspondence or one-on-one. But you can also have something on your website like a get to know us 15-minute call where they can book it, and it's only available, say, every Tuesday between 2 to 4 if you don't have any other meetings booked. And someone can go on there, they get captured, they enter, you have a conversation. It syncs with a tool like Zoom for a video conference, and boom, you're off to the races. You've got another lead there. It's a very informal, low kind of cost entry to get someone in front of someone as well.
That's a really good point. I think this is something that works well with both prospective clients and existing clients. Like we know there's always quarterly reviews or biannual reviews or annual reviews that you might do with your clients. And by sending your existing clients to a landing page like this that has your calendar on it, you might be able to schedule a handful of meetings in a fraction of the time just by having them fill out the calendar on your website.
Absolutely. Yep, very true. Now, something that I think we all can't wait to get back to once the pandemic's officially over is events. I know we like to have, people in our office, or we take some clients out, or whatever that looks like, right? You want to do a seminar, those types of in-person events. Through your website is a great place to actually generate attendee signups, RSVPs for events. A platform like ours has a built-in RSVP tool, so people can actually register for the event and you get an email notification. But if your website is regularly posting content through something like an automated publishing system like ours, and people have a reason to return to your website on a regular basis, That's when they start to see, oh, they have an event coming up in 2 weeks. Maybe they send it to a friend that's interested in that topic, or two, or attend themselves. But now you're organically kind of feeding the machine, and it's happening over and over, and it's becoming repetitive. Your first event, your second event might not be as great as you want, but it's a snowball effect. You want to build that momentum, get your traffic used to, hey, we actually update our website regularly, we're adding to it, and there's value to come back to it. And then you start seeing that snowball and that traction really happen time after time. Now, the most traditional and in a lot of ways, the most successful digital communication method with a lot of advisors and their clients is, of course, emails. Emails can be done where they're using an email tool to blast out an announcement or drive traffic to a landing page or to a sign up, or can also be done through a automated system as well, where they get dripped on, some different emails over a course of 21 days or so. There's also a subscribe to our blog, subscribe to our newsletter type of button or CTA on the website. And once they enter that, they get into this ecosystem as well. So that's another great way for you to get in front of your clients or prospects, automate that system, and again, feed that lead machine that goes into Redtail, and you can take it from there. So before I pass over to Austin, I have one request. I'd like everyone that's listening to put their coffee down, put their sandwich down for a second, minimize their Outlook, and let me talk to you about our offer today. So before we pass over to Austin, we'd like to offer anyone on attending today a free complimentary digital marketing assessment. So what that entails is you'll get a one-on-one time slot with someone on our team to look through your website presence, your online presence, and give you some feedback and honestly probably some constructive criticism on areas you can improve your website. Now, typically for ones that just launched their website, they might want a second look to make sure they did things right. A lot of cases, you're looking at someone who hasn't touched your website in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, don't even know where to begin, and just want some feedback and advice to kind of begin that plan of action to get their online presence to 2021 times. So for anyone that is interested in this, I'm going to paste a link in the chat right now, and go there, sign up, and someone from our team will reach out to you within 24 to 48 hours. I think also one of our admins has posted a link there as well. So it's in the chat. Please take advantage of it. It's a great way to spend 30 minutes. Gets you going, gets you started, and it also might give you some feedback that you never considered before. Awesome. Do see a few questions in here before I hand over to Austin. Question that came in is, when using video, is it important for you as the advisor to appear in the video, or is it generic video okay? Alex, you want to take a stab?
When you're posting a video, it's important to think of who the intended audience is and what the purpose of the video is. So if you're doing a video that you want to be personalized and you want to showcase who you really are as a firm, in those instances, generic videos will not work out well. You should be standing in your office or your home, wherever you're calling your office today. And you want to be in those videos. If it's educational material, generic videos are okay as long as they're short and to the point. Visitors to your website and people who watch videos online, the attention span is going to be short. So as long as you can keep these videos under a couple minutes or so, it's totally fine using generic videos to explain the benefits of a specific retirement plan or college plan, because oftentimes these generic videos can provide really insightful visuals actually that you're unable to do if you create that yourself, or if you do create it yourself, it might be a ton of work to create. And there's a lot of good companies out there that create videos like this. So I'd say educational videos, it's definitely okay using someone that's not yourself. But if it's anything about your firm or your practice or your people, it 100% needs to be you.
Absolutely. And if you do create that content, use other platforms to distribute, not just post on your website. Get it out on social, get it out on your email, things like that, to get more eyes to it as well. Awesome. We get another question in here. If you had only time for one digital marketing activity, what would you recommend? What is the best thing? Sorry, just my screen adjusted. What is the best thing to start with?
Oh, it's a good question. I would start with a basic blog. And the reason I do that is because even if you're posting content from, say, the advisor website's content library, when someone lands on your website, they'll see that you are updating your website on a routine basis. It's not something that sat there for 3 or 4 years. It shows that you're paying attention to your site. And as a visitor, that's what you want to see. So I think starting a blog is one of the easiest things to do, especially when you can leverage content from another provider like ourselves to at least get it going. Once you start to see some traction and maybe get some feedback on the types of articles that you're posting, maybe you can start writing one a month yourself. But I'd really recommend blog as a place to start, because from there, everything else can snowball. Like if your blog starts getting a lot of traffic, that's where you can start adding some of these calls to action and adding web forms that Nitesh was talking about earlier. Because visitors are engaging with your content, they'll be more inclined to reach out to you because they're finding value in what you're delivering.
Alex, it also goes back to that first part, right, where you mentioned SEO, because from what I know a little bit about SEO is that Google wants to see that that website is being actively updated, and that's going to boost it up in those search rankings. So just
Yeah,
thought I'd add that in
exactly.
there as well.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, we actually have a question for you guys as well. So we want to know, what's been the most challenging aspect of lead generation and engagement for you? You can go ahead and drop that in the chat or the QA, and we're going to go ahead and circle back around to that question towards the end. But what I want to move in next to is the integration between advisor websites and Redtail and how these two platforms come together. Why are we here doing a joint webinar? It's because these platforms can actually talk to each other using what are called APIs. And how that works is basically these forms and these landing pages that we've been learning about. When visitors come to your website and they enter in that valuable pieces of information, you can actually have that information pushed into your Redtail CRM. We can even choose to pick a specific status and a specific source in Redtail, so that way we can easily identify those for our sales cycle. Now, I want to stress the importance of having a good sales cycle inside Redtail CRM. I work with a lot of different offices, and some of them are phenomenal at attracting new business. They have databases full of great content and great leads in their database that have just gone stale over time. They just fall through the cracks because we didn't have a process in place to follow that lead up to fruition. And so what I've kind of developed here is what I would imagine a sales cycle to be like in Redtail CRM. And there's really 3 distinguishable points of contact that you need to take that lead from your website all the way into that client. And so the first part is where I have this arrow pointed here, and I call this the qualifying phase, right? We have some people that will come to our website that really aren't really interested in doing business with us. Maybe they were just after that free content, right? But there are also those leads that come in that are potential future clients. And so we want to be sure to qualify those. So first I want to start off showing you how do we find leads in Redtail? And second, how do we qualify them to make sure that they are worthy of going on to the second stage here, where we're actually going to vet them out as potential clients for us. So to do that, we are going to create a quick list inside Redtail for our new leads. Okay, and so let's go ahead and slide on over here into Redtail CRM. We'll start here on the home page. And to find those leads, we're going to, of course, go to the contacts menu here on the left-hand side. Once we choose contacts, we're going to navigate to the advanced search menu, and we're going to search for the specific criteria that we indicated in the integration. Like I mentioned before, when we have a lead come in from advisors' websites, we can specify what status and what source we want to put them in as. So for me, I use the status of lead and the source of website lead. And so that's what I'm going to search for here in the database. I'm going to choose type is contact, field is status, the operand will be equal to, and then of course I'm going to choose lead. Then I'm going to drill down a little bit further, right? Because we want to get the ones specifically from our website. And so I'm going to click this and button here one more time. And again, we're going to do contact. This time we'll do source equal to, and let's choose website lead. Okay, and so by clicking this run button here, it's going to show me all of the leads that came in from my website. And so in this case, I have 10 of them. Now, I want to add just one more thing here, because sometimes we get lots and lots of leads. Some of us have some really powerful websites that can generate lots of leads. You can also add in one more qualifier if you wanted here, which is the created date. So say, for example, you're getting 10 leads a month, you might want to narrow it down to just focus on those most recent leads. And in that case, you can add in contact created at, and I'm going to choose greater than, and let's just choose, let's say the beginning of this year. So this is going to narrow down my list to just my new website leads that came in from January 1st all the way up until today. Okay. And then most importantly, what you want to do is you want to save this list. And the reason why is because you don't want to have to do these 12 drop downs every single time you want to find your list of website leads. And so what I'm going to do is click the save button here and call it new website leads. Save that list. Now, what's really cool about this quick list feature is it's dynamic, meaning it's going to automatically update. If you get a lead from your website, they will be automatically added to this list because they meet this criteria. And it's important to have them on this list because this is where we get to go ahead and qualify them. So for some of us, that means sending them an email. Some of them, that means sending them our calendar, like we learned about earlier. Or my favorite is just the old smile and dial, right? We're going to give these people a call, make sure that they are in fact interested in learning more about the services that we have to provide. And so to do that, we can either click into the record or we can just hover our mouse over the name and it's going to go ahead and appear. And so in this case, I'd go ahead and give Jenna a call. I'd dial in her number here, go ahead and give her a call. Okay, how about for this one? We left a voicemail, right? We didn't get a hold of Jenna. What I want to do is I want to make sure that I document that because, hey, if it's not in Redtail, it didn't happen. And so now I'm going to navigate over here to this action arrow. And I'm just going to record a note letting myself know that I left a voicemail for Jenna. Okay. We'll go ahead and categorize that as prospecting, which is right here, and save that note. So that way I have a note later on that, hey, I did, in fact, leave a voicemail for Jenna. Another thing you could do is I mentioned the email feature, right? Being able to send an email to Jenna as a follow-up to her voicemail by just choosing the send email option here. And for me, I like to use a templated email source. So I just use my template here in Redtail to send out a brief introduction email. And I could do this 10 times really quickly with just one couple clicks. And it even has the ability to merge in Jenna's first name into that email. So again, I don't have the time to go into all the nuances here, but if you're just looking for a fast way to just send out that email as a follow-up to your voicemail, this is the way to do it. Okay. And then I'd keep working down the list. So next up is James, and I'd go ahead and call James. And let's say in this example, James was a success. He went to our website. He saw our estate planning strategy article. He filled out his information in the form, and he really wants to know more about estate planning. So of course, the first thing we got to do is we got to enter in a note, right? Because if it's not in Redtail, it didn't happen. And so again, I'm going to navigate over to this action icon here, and I'm going to record a note. So again, your notes are going to be a lot more detailed than mine, but for time's sake, I'm just going to say interested in estate planning. Again, we'll categorize that note and enter it into our database. Okay, which is now going to take us to stage number 2. So we've identified a qualified lead. In this case, we would label James as a hot prospect. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add him into our opportunity cycle within Redtail. So the opportunities tool allows for us to basically take clients or future clients, that is, and move them through a sales pipeline. So moving them from one stage to the next, to the next, to the next. And I've worked with a lot of different offices, and I know sometimes this can take one phone call, or sometimes it could take 7 meetings over the course of 9 months. The good news is opportunities are flexible to however you have your sales process, okay? And they usually consist of 3 points. It's usually some kind of discovery visit, right? Making sure that that person's gonna be a fit for us, and we're gonna be a fit for them. Then we're gonna generate some kind of proposal, what are we going to offer? And then we're going to receive some kind of commitment. So that's what I'm gonna show you using the opportunities tool here today. And so let's go back to Redtail CRM. And I'm gonna update James because he's no longer a lead at this point. He's actually a prospect because he's shown interest in what I have to offer. So let's open up James's record here, and we're going to update his contact details. We'll change him to prospect and put him under the category of hot. and we'll update those contact details. Now at this point, what I also like to do is, again, mention adding in that opportunity. So clicking on this plus button here while we're on James's record and putting them into our opportunity cycle. Okay, and so we'll give it a title. I'm just going to enable this here. We'll say James Davis, and we'll put in estate plan. Okay, so we are going to make an estate plan for James. If I want to, I could give myself a little bit of a description. So he needs an estate plan. Again, yours is obviously going to be a lot more detailed than mine. I'm just doing it for speed's sake here, keeping it short. Okay, and we're going to add in a new opportunity here for James. Okay, and this becomes kind of like my home base for tracking that future business. It kind of separates itself out in the system, right? So it doesn't necessarily go to my calendar or into my workflow tasks at this point. It's kind of my own special spot to work on prospecting and bringing in new business. Okay, so we see here that James is automatically linked. And so now it's time to indicate what stage we're at. So like I mentioned before, there's usually some kind of discovery process, there's a proposal and a commitment. Thankfully with using advisor websites, I actually take care of these first two parts, right? Gathering their information, my website takes care of that. And then also they already kind of got an introduction to me because they visited my About Me page on my website and they know a little bit about me. So I can go right to the discovery process, which is again, just discovering, hey, am I going to be a fit for you? Are you going to be a fit for me? For those of you who work in teams, you can actually assign out this opportunity as well. So if you have somebody that you want to say, I want Mike to take care of this because he is our expert on estate plans, I can go ahead and delegate that out. And then of course, we can even record the sources as well. So this becomes an important aspect of understanding the value of your website, right? By indicating that this opportunity here came from my website specifically, I can begin to quantify using these amounts and projected and actual revenues, how successful my website is actually performing based off of how much new money is it bringing in to my business. So for example, I might say for an estate plan, I might quantify that as a $4,000 opportunity. And again, at the end of the month, end of the quarter, end of the year, I can go back and I can run reports based off of how well my website performed by tracking it all using this source button here.
That's a really good point too, to kind of bring the two together. Because on the advisor website side, we track stuff like conversion rates, number of leads that are coming through, the amount of traffic your website's getting. But then seeing it on the Redtail side, you can actually start attaching dollar values to some of these prospects and leads that come through. So I think that's actually, that's an excellent point that you're making here.
Yeah, it's all about that ROI, right? We're all finance guys here, and we like to know that number, right? What if I'm shelling out X amount of dollars for my website, am I making back X amount of dollars plus flat? You know?
Yeah, so, especially if on your website you start doing stuff like making an SEO push, like maybe you're investing, it could only be your time, but you can quantify your time as to like how much that costs. Like if you're dedicating a day a month or a day every 2 weeks, like that still has a cost to it. So when you look to see the amount of opportunities your website is generating, you can do it right here in Redtail, which is great.
Yep, definitely. So let's go ahead and save this opportunity. Again, we'd put it in here, we'd have that discovery visit, and then we'd be basically keep revisiting this opportunity as we keep making changes to it. So after our discovery visit, we might determine, hey, James is going to be a good fit for us and we're a good fit for him. So we're going to make him a proposal. If we need to, we can also link notes and documents to this opportunity as well. So if there's any kind of, things that we want to record via notes, again, it's not Redtail, didn't happen, or maybe we're sharing some kind of document, we can go ahead and attach it to the opportunity as well. But eventually we're going to get to the stage here for onboarding. And this is where I actually like to leave the opportunity and use a different tool in Redtail. And that is our famous workflow tool. So again, we've moved past the opportunity, right? We got James in from our website. We called him. We made sure that it was in fact interest. We've done our due diligence to gauge his fit for us and our fit for him. And so now it's time to just make him a client, right? Start initiating some of those account transfers, finalizing the things that we need to finalize in order to officially make that person a client. And so again, what I like to use is an onboarding workflow. So whatever it is that your process is, here's just a sample of a really generic process of what an onboarding process looks like for Redtail. But again, you make this unique to you, and this becomes your guideline for making that person from a pending prospect into an active client. And so I'm actually going to show you how to do this using the power of automations. So let's go here. We'll go ahead and save this opportunity for now. And I'm going to go over to James's record. And using the power of automations in Redtail, all I need to do is go down here to his contact details and edit him from a prospecting hot to a prospecting pending. And that, just by changing that one field, will initiate the workflow process. Let me try that one more time. Sorry, guys. I swear I tested it this morning. Let's try it one more time here. Update the contact details. We'll go ahead and refresh. There we go. Okay, so here's our active workflow here. We've put him in as a an active client pending. And just by changing those fields around, we've initiated the workflow process. So now I'm going to go ahead and gather some of these important pieces of information that I need for James to become my official client. And so I know that was a whirlwind of information. It was probably like trying to drink out of a fire hose there. And so what I want to do is I want to invite you to a special opportunity that Redtail is hosting in the month of May. So if you go to our website, redtailtechnology.com, and you click on the support option and RTU Online, this stands for Redtail University Online. It's a completely free opportunity where you get the classroom-like experience offered by our famous Redtail University online in a webinar format, where we're going to explore specifically how to build and implement workflows, as well as optimizing that sales cycle. So again, I only had about 15 minutes today, but give me 50 and I promise you, your sales cycle is going to be much improved. So I'm going to drop this link here into the chat. And if you're available on May 4th and May 5th, may the 4th be with you, and come join us for Redtail University Online. You won't regret it. All right, so here comes that. Let's go to my chat here. And again, I'm going to drop that link in there. So again, if you have time available in May, feel free to join us. Many of you probably already have back in our February or March seminars. And then of course, we also record this as well. So if you can't make it on that day, don't worry. Just visit the Redtail Help Desk or the Redtail YouTube channel, and you'll be able to watch the previous recordings of both workflows and sales cycling. All right, so I have another question for you. So what's been the most challenging aspect of your sales cycle and your onboarding journey? So a little bit spin off the last question. And so what's been the most challenging aspect of your sales cycle or onboarding journey? And so let's go ahead and move into a time of QA here. Before we do that, I just want to thank everybody for attending. Alex, Nitesh, always a pleasure to co-present with you and show how these two platforms can really powerfully integrate together to create good process. And so if you guys have any questions or interest, you can reach out to either side. Both the support numbers and email addresses are available there. Don't forget about that free digital marketing assessment offered by Advisor Websites. You want to get a good gauge on how your website's performing. And so come learn from the best, right? People who have seen thousands and thousands and thousands of websites, they know how to make your website work great. And so be sure to take advantage of that free assessment.
Thanks so much for joining us today for this particular session. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-206-5030, option 3 for support, or just shoot us an email over to support@redtailtechnology.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.